high power, this community is low power, or whatever.
Yeah, we have a few groups that are kind of like that. One of the uh, one of the groups that I have a lot of friends in, they are much more loose in their levels of power. Like they have some people that play very. It's another Makote group. But they have some people that play very straightforward, like huntresses. So they're spear users. They hunt in the forest, and that's basically it. Like they're good at taking down game with spears.
Right.
Where then they have other people that just are like, I'm the hero. Bring it on.
Right,
and
right.
They're just very loose about it, and so they don't. Whenever I start talking about, like, I guess levels of power isn't good word for it. I use the term scrutiny, like what level of scrutiny is your RP under? So a high level of scrutiny is going to be very everyone's fact checking everything you write to make sure that you're following the lore and the rules.
Right.
And everything has to, all your dots have, all your I's have to be crossed and all your T's have to be dotted.
Because that's the rule that they established.
Right. Where then you have low scrutiny groups, which is basically just, whatever makes sense, whatever's fun in the moment,
Right. I think in tabletop you kind of get a little bit of that in kind of the concept of story-based versus simulation-based, where like some people want to just tell a cool story, and if the action needs to feel more like an action movie, then like a sword and sorcery movie, well then that's fine. We can make it feel more cinematic and more grandiose. But then you have kind of like more simulationist type games where the dice roll determines everything. Like, oh, you want to, if you want to do anything, you have to roll the dice, and the kind of the concept of a lot of this is the dice rolls kind of like add drama, add spice. They adds unpredictability to the game, so it's not just of course we win and beat up the guy and save the princess. Sometimes you have to kind of deal with failure and setbacks and whatnot. But I think that like a lot of it is kind of a lot of it kind of like each type kind of gets kind of pigeonholed into a certain thing where like even kind of the terms I use, like storytelling versus simulationist. The simulationist people still want to tell a story. They just want to tell a different type of story.
Right.
They want to tell a story that basically like then this happened, then we reacted to this, and we're heroic because we overcame this thing.
It's more about the struggle.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So when I first moved to Mattias, you know this story, when I first moved to Mattias, because how far back should I go about this? I started playing 14 to get away from RP drama on the Old Republic. So I took like 4 years away from RP just to like just heal and recover. And so I went to Mattias to start role playing again, and I somehow found a group of people that were from the same community from Old Republic, but I didn't know this until like month 2 of being with them.
Right.
And so like I was just back into the drama, back into the high scrutiny, back into the simulation role play.
Right.
And so, but they were very inconsistent about their expectations, because they'd want to roll everything, but then they say, oh, but if you don't like the roll, you can fudge it. It's fine. I go, okay, that's fine. And so like I would get a whole bunch of rolls where I failed the roll, And they'd be like, "Oh, well, you can fudge it if you want to." I'm like, "No, I'll play through. It's fine." Right. And like I keep failing, so I just started kind of writing, failing. I just kept failing roles, so I would just kind of write my character as, you know, being someone who's really kind of struggling with, you know, what they were doing, because I was playing a lawful good character, and she got recruited into this underground.
Right, I remember you talking about this.
Tavern, you know, mercenary group, whatever.
Right.
And so like she's a lawful good bard who got, you know, recruited as a performer.
Right. And then trained as an assassin, kind of against her will, and
right. And like the she's good at illusion magic. She's good at, you know, songs and kind of storytelling, but she's not actually good at lying.
Right.
So they'd have her trying to like interrogate these people or trying to assassinate these people with her bow, and she's just like, okay, I'll try, and then big surprise, she fails. And so they would get super angry at me because I wouldn't fudge my roles for her or have her grow into this amazing assassin character.
Right.
And it got really frustrating after a while. But this ended up being a super toxic group anyway, so...
Yeah, I remember you telling me about, you know, like the leader, you know, and this kind of makes sense because the leader wanted to have a high degree of control over the storytelling.
Oh yeah, it got to the point where we weren't allowed to roleplay with people outside of the group. Like, if you roleplayed with someone outside the group, you would be criticized and ridiculed, and they would even try to recruit the people into the group. If they didn't fit out the way that they wanted, then you basically got like told you can't play with that person anymore.
Right.
And I actually lost a couple of really good friends on that character because of that nonsense, because I was just used to it from my previous roleplay experiences. Like, it wasn't toxic to me. It was just what I was used to.
Right.
Because that's how that community that I left was like too, and that was my main, you know, roleplay experience.
Right.
So, anyways, so what was the point I was trying to make with this story?
We were talking about
I forgot my point.
kind of like you started off talking about basically like, you know, combat, you know, like basic simulationist versus storytelling type stuff. You know, high level scrutiny versus low level.
Oh, right. So,
like, yeah.
The point that I was trying to make is that I'm a very story oriented writer. I would be very flexible with like my character motivations. That's something else we have to talk about. Okay. Sorry, my dog was barking. And so like I'm a very flexible person. I will change my character motivation if it makes sense for the story at the time.
Right. And nudge thing.
Yeah. Like I won't do like a 180 on the character, but I'll lean a certain way if it makes for good story writing.